right, so for day 18, here's what you need to do. We're going to do something a little different today. I had the privilege of being in a course with a guy who wrote a book, which really is in line totally with what I believe and what I've learned and what I aspire to be as a developer. And his name is Chris, and I've given you the link here to the book that he wrote. But I've been in one of his classes, and he's really amazing. And not only is he amazing, but this book, as I said, is everything that I am learning and hope to learn. As a matter of fact, when I teach server side a year from next semester, this is probably a book I'm going to be using. But it does a great job doing some of our fundamental concepts and really gives us what I would call patterns that we need and could look at and discuss. So here's what you need to do is download solutions, and when you download solutions you'll get a zip file. That's off the screen, so let me show you. Okay, now on a Mac this is fairly easy. On a Windows, hopefully you all know how to deal with zip files, but once you unzip it, and I'll just go ahead and show mine in Finder. As you can see, I'd already done this. You'll get a directory, and then there'll be resources and solutions. So if you go into the solutions and you go into chapter 6, the autogram right here, so you need to take this folder from chapter 6, copy it into, and I've already done it so I'll just show you, into your October structure, and it'll be at the same level as the My App, My Homework, and then autogram. Okay, so in this, and it's a nice little fun looking picture based page that has some really nice patterns in it. Okay, so your job, sorry about that, your job is to look at the main JS and analyze it. Okay, and so if you want 100% of the points, you have to analyze 100% of the code. Some of it's duplicate. We haven't really talked about use current, so this will be or use strict, so this will be a good time to talk about that. But there's really nothing that new here. There's a couple things that we need to talk about, so that'll be good. Document query selector all. We've been using query selector by ID. So this is a more global query selector. But that's your job, right? Is to go out, and here's the deal. Start at the bottom because there's an initialize events right here at the bottom, and then just follow your way up the code, documenting what each thing does, right? So what you want to do here, when I look at your main JS, right? Step 1 here, and this would be your initialize. Okay, so this is your initialize events, and then from there you can see how it flows. And he also which I really like, does also his global variables in a way that you can clearly see what they are, and they point to something different that we haven't seen yet. So the idea here, so let's go back. Okay, back to the write up here, is that you need to analyze 100% of the code. Okay, and that you need to comment on each line. Now again, some of it will be duplicate, so it'll be fairly easy to do, but the concept is for you to determine A, can you figure out how it's building the site that it's building, and what is it doing in each of those function calls, and for those things that you can't, start researching them. Okay, so again, 100% of the points comes from documenting 100% of the code, and in this case the JavaScript code, but you will need to refer to the index, the HTML, and some of the CSS to kind of figure out and put the pieces together. The last thing I will say is that this is a great book. I definitely recommend you think about getting it. It's fairly cheap. I looked at it on Amazon. I think it was like 20 bucks or something like that. Luckily I got a review copy because I contacted Chris, and I've been looking through a lot of it. It talks about Flexbox, which is awesome. It talks about something we haven't done that I really feel like we need to, which is really to use build tools in a way that help streamline some of the post processing after you make your changes, the development to publish cycle. So we'll start talking about this. We need to anyway for other reasons, but when I saw it here, I was like, yeah, that's an area that I have not covered that we need to. So anyway, this is a great book, highly recommended, but we're going to use just the solution here to level up again on some of our CSS, and in this case, best practices. Chris is not only a teacher, but he's a developer, and so he teaches and then he works with clients, and that is a wonderful balance to have as somebody that is out there doing it and teaching, so he has both sides of the fence. So great inspiration, not only for me, but I think for you as well. All right, so we'll talk to you later. Oh, one last thing just to remind is October, right? So I'm sorry, no, at the end of October, beginning of November, for those of you taking this mostly in the online mode, that November 1st, right, is our demo day and our evaluation of the class day, evaluation of Rio day. And the only time in this whole class you actually have to show up to get the points for that day. Okay? All right. I didn't talk about this yesterday, but I'm going to, is the fact that we've ended in Free Code Camp. We've ended the JavaScript. We're moving on to a little bit of jQuery, and then we'll come back to objects in Free Code Camp. Fun stuff. Talk to you soon.